How long do you think the human species, as a distinct Homo sapiens, has been on the planet? Anyone want to shout a guess? Well, Richard Dawkins thinks 250,000 years, 250,000. That's considered to be on the high end. Francis Collins, who's become a friend of mine, a very, very devout Christian, who, as you will know, sequenced the Human Genome Project and did the final report on the full-out discovery of that unravelment which showed us our kinship with other creatures and indeed with other non-creatures, other forms of vegetation and junk that's in our, undoubtedly proves us to be part of the creational soup. He thinks minimum 100,000. He's not quite sure if it's 250,000. All right, I only need 100,000. 100,000 years since we dared to became separate from the Cro-Magnons and the Neanderthals as our own species, Homo sapiens. Here's what you have to believe to be a theist. For 100,000 years, humanity is born. Perhaps 25% of it dies in childbirth or very shortly afterwards. Life expectancy, I don't know, 25 for a very long time. Infant mortality, extraordinary, after childbirth deaths, I mean. Killed by microorganisms we didn't know existed, by earthquakes that we thought were portents, by storms that we didn't know came from our climate system, by other events that arise from being born onto a cooling planet with deep cracks in its crust, faults in its crust. Then man-made things, turf wars, fights over women, fights over territory, over food, and so on. Very, very slow, gradual, exponential upward progress, we might like to think. Pretty slow, but at least we can claim, out of our own self-respect, man-made. And for the first 96,000 years of this experience, heaven watches with folded arms. Us go through this, with indifference, without pity. And then around 4,000 years ago decides, gee, it's time to intervene. And the best way of doing that would probably be in Bronze Age Middle East, making appearances to stupefied illiterate peasants, which could later be passed on. The news would get to China after about 1,000 years of that.
2 minutes.
That's what you have to believe. Aren't you glad you can't be made to believe that? Aren't you glad there's no theocracy anymore within range of you that can make you believe that? Do you know what it's like living in countries where you can be made to believe it? Do you know what the penalties are for not believing it? They're just exactly congruent with the stupidity of the belief itself.